He kicked the bucket so hard it rattled across the marble floor, splashing water, scattering rags, and sending a startled echo ringing through the hall. The maid flinched, her hands trembling, knuckles whitening around the mop handle. The polished tiles reflected the boy's sneer, the casual cruelty etched into the face of privilege. He was the son of the richest man in the city, a boy whose shoes cost more than the maid's monthly wages. He didn't see her pain. He didn't pause to apologize. To him, she was invisible, just another shadow in the sprawling mansion he called home. But the bucket was more than a vessel. It was her lifeline. She scrubbed floors for hours, day after day, saving every penny to support a family far away. Each moment in those echoing halls was a test of strength, of dignity, of survival. The boy, used to servants bowing and bending, never wondered who she was, what her story might be, or how a single act of disrespect could ripple far beyond this moment. He strutted away, laughing with friends, boasting about the prank, never realizing that life often turns on the smallest moments. That arrogance, unchecked, can be the seed of downfall. And sometimes the people we least expect have stories that outshine our own. In the silence that followed, the maid knelt, gathering her scattered tools. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand, not from weakness, but from a resolve forged in hardship. She had been through storms harsher than any insult slung in a gilded hallway. She finished her work, her pride untouched, her spirit resilient. Days passed. The mansion buzzed with the preparations for a grand party. Politicians, celebrities, and CEOs would gather to celebrate the patriarch's latest business triumph. The son wore a tailored suit, his arrogance polished to perfection. He was the prince of his own world, untouched by consequence, surrounded by admiration. But fate has a way of revealing truths at moments least expected. That night, as guests arrived, the maid was nowhere to be seen. The son didn't notice her absence. He was too busy basking in the glow of wealth. He didn't realize that the story about to unfold would forever change the way he saw himself and the world. In the grand ballroom, the air shimmered with anticipation. The father, powerful and respected, took the stage to introduce a special guest, a philanthropist whose work had transformed lives across continents. The crowd hushed, eyes trained on the elegant figure stepping into the light. She moved with quiet confidence, grace born of trials overcome. As she spoke, her voice was steady, full of gratitude and wisdom. She told her story, how she'd come to America with nothing, worked as a maid to support her education, and eventually built a foundation that lifted thousands out of poverty. She spoke of dignity, of the value in every person, regardless of station. The son's heart pounded. He recognized her. The woman on stage, the celebrated guest, was the maid he'd humiliated just days before. Frozen, he felt the chill of shame, the weight of his ignorance pressing down. The room applauded, but he couldn't move. His mind raced, replaying the moment he'd kicked the bucket, the laughter, the disregard. He realized she'd carried more strength in her silence than he had ever known. She was no shadow. She was a beacon. Later, when guests mingled, the father approached her with respect, introducing his son. The boy stammered, searching for words, his arrogance shattered. The maid, now philanthropist, smiled with kindness. She forgave, but did not forget. Her dignity remained, but now the lesson was his to learn. The transformation in the boy began that night. He started listening to the staff, to strangers, to his own conscience. He learned that the measure of a person is not wealth, but character. He volunteered, he studied, he reached out to those he once ignored. The arrogance faded, replaced by humility and gratitude. The story of the maid and the bucket became legend in the mansion. Staff whispered about it. Guests asked about the philanthropist's journey. The tale moved beyond those gilded walls, inspiring others to look deeper, to question assumptions, to treat everyone with respect. Why does this story resonate so deeply? Because in America, and across the world, we are surrounded by invisible stories. Every day we encounter people whose lives are shaped by struggle, resilience, and hope. The billionaire mindset isn't about money. It's about seeing opportunity in adversity and recognizing the value in every human being. Success begins with humility. It's the ability to learn from anyone, anywhere, at any moment. The richest people are often those who understand the true worth of others, who know that kindness is the greatest currency. The boy's transformation was not a miracle, but a choice, a decision to grow, to change, to become more than his circumstances. This story is not just about a rich man's son and a maid. It's about all of us. It's about the moments when we act without thinking, when we forget that everyone has a past, a dream, a battle. It's about the power of empathy, to heal, to uplift, to inspire lasting change. The maid's journey did not end with that party. She continued to build her foundation, helping thousands to escape poverty, mentoring young people, and advocating for fair labor rights. She returned to the mansion not as a servant, but as an honored guest, welcomed with open arms. The boy, now a man, never forgot the lesson. He used his privilege to amplify voices, to fund scholarships, to support the staff who had once been invisible to him. He became a different kind of leader, one who understood that the true measure of success is not what you have, but what you give. What can we learn from this? First, never judge a person by their role. The maid cleaning the floor may be a future leader, a survivor, a visionary. The billionaire's son may have every advantage, but without empathy, he is poor in spirit. True greatness comes from recognizing the hidden strengths in others and in ourselves. Second, every moment counts. The smallest act, a kick, a word, a gesture, can ripple through a life, for good or ill. We must take responsibility for our actions and strive to leave every person better than we found them. Third, adversity is a teacher. The maid's journey through hardship gave her the wisdom and resilience to rise above her circumstances. The son's humiliation was the catalyst for growth. In every challenge, there is a lesson waiting to be learned. Fourth, forgiveness is powerful. The maid forgave, not to excuse, but to free herself from bitterness. The boy accepted her forgiveness and used it as a foundation for change. In forgiving others, we release ourselves from the chains of resentment. Fifth, the billionaire mindset is not about money. It's about seeing potential everywhere, especially in places others overlook. It's about lifting others as you climb, and understanding that real wealth is measured in lives transformed. If you want to succeed, start with humility. Listen more than you speak. Seek out stories that challenge your assumptions. Treat everyone with respect, from the CEO to the janitor. Your mindset determines your destiny. Let's look at some real-life examples that reinforce this lesson. Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks, grew up in public housing. He watched his father struggle with low-paying jobs, learning early that dignity matters more than status. Schultz built a company where every employee, barista or executive, was treated with respect and offered opportunities to grow. His billionaire mindset was forged not in privilege, but in empathy. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, faced abuse, and worked as a maid in her youth. She rose to become one of the most influential women in the world, leveraging her pain into purpose. She invests in education, mentors young leaders, and never forgets her roots. Her success is built on the belief that every person has value. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in history, started as a bobbin boy in a textile factory. He gave away most of his fortune to build libraries, schools, and foundations, believing that wealth should be used to uplift, not just accumulate. His legacy is not in his riches, but in the millions who benefited from his generosity. These stories, like the tale of the maid and the arrogant son, teach us that greatness is not inherited. It is earned through humility, empathy, and the relentless pursuit of growth. So what does this mean for you? If you feel overlooked, underestimated, or invisible, remember, your story is still being written. Every challenge is a stepping stone. Every act of kindness, every moment of resilience builds your character. The world may not see your worth yet, but your persistence will shine. If you have privilege, use it to uplift others. Listen to the stories of those around you. Ask questions. Offer opportunities. True leaders are measured not by their wealth, but by the lives they touch. If you want to develop a billionaire mindset, start by expanding your vision. See potential where others see problems. Invest in relationships, in learning, in giving back. Success is not about what you possess, but what you create, within yourself and in the world. The story of the rich man's arrogant son and the maid's bucket is more than just a lesson. It's a call to action. It challenges us to examine our own lives, our own assumptions, our own moments of carelessness. It asks us to be better, to rise above the limitations of status, and to build bridges of understanding. Imagine a world where every person is seen, valued, and respected, where the maid in the hallway is given the same dignity as the CEO in the boardroom, where success is measured not by the size of your house, but the size of your heart. You have the power to create that world. Every day, in every interaction, you choose what kind of person you want to be. Will you kick the bucket, or will you lift it? Will you ignore the invisible, or will you see the gold within every soul? The choice is yours. The call to greatness is not reserved for the privileged. It's open to everyone willing to learn, to grow, to serve. Before you leave, remember this. The richest person in the room is not the one with the most money, but the one with the most empathy. The most powerful leader is not the one who commands, but the one who inspires. The most successful life is not the one lived in luxury, but the one lived with purpose. So ask yourself, what legacy will you leave? How will you treat those around you? What story will you write with your actions? If this story moved you, if you want to learn more about life skills, personal development, and real-life success stories, subscribe to our channel. Join a community of people committed to growth, wisdom, and kindness. There's a billionaire mindset waiting for you, not in your wallet, but in your heart. Watch our next video to discover more inspiring journeys, practical life skills, and strategies to unlock your potential. Your story matters. Your choices matter. Start today. Be the change you wish to see. Thank you for watching. And remember, greatness begins with humility. The next chapter is yours to write.